Another day, another dollar. Hello, hello, hello. Wednesday, March 1, new month, new price action. Let's see. Wow, a lot to cover today. Tesla Investor Day should be starting. I don't know what time, but sometime in the afternoon here. Wow. So, where to start? I guess I'll start with NVIDIA. It's funny when you're on FinTwit, which is Twitter with all the financial gurus who were screaming, tweeting nonstop about NVIDIA's mixed shelf offering, which is essentially basically gave themselves authorization to raise capital through equity issuing and potential bond offerings. They didn't do it yet. $10 billion. They didn't do it yet. They're basically just opening the door. It's like, let's see, what they do, 10 billion. Their market cap's 560 billion. 10 billion's a drop in the bucket there. But again, they didn't issue anything. They're literally opening the door to potentially issue, maybe, if they see fit down the line, maybe at some point. No one last night noticed in the fine print, because they're all headline boys, that information. Basically they opened up a line of potential credit. Obviously, you need people to purchase the equities you offer or the bonds you issue, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to be very difficult. But basically, they open up a line of credit so that they can have that capital pretty darn quick. So now they don't have to go through all the paperwork to do it when they actually need it. Now it's all set up. Now they're just waiting. And in my head, I go, well, why would they do that? They don't need money. So two things. One, maybe they're gearing up for an acquisition of something, which is very plausible. Two, the CHIPS Act, I think Biden came out yesterday, or whoever else in the administration came out yesterday and said, if any of these chip companies take or want to receive any of the money from the CHIP Act, I think it's $36 billion. If they want any of that money, they're not allowed to expand in China for 10 years. That's fine, whatever. But maybe NVIDIA goes, well, we were going to do that, but maybe we do want to expand in China. So let's open up this line of credit now, and then we'll have it all set up. If an opportunity presents itself, what if a company, rates are going up, things are starting to crack a little bit. What if one of these smaller companies runs out of runway? NVIDIA can be there in a drop of a hat and scoop it up. I think this is a savvy move. Everybody else was screaming this thing's going to gap down to 200. Basically calling them frauds because they pumped AI so hard in their earnings report, which brought the stock from 207 pretty much to 235. The thing's sitting at 227 right now. It's down, what, $8, $9 from its recent high? Sorry, $12. It touched 238 yesterday. And then the other funny thing is, this thing was at 238 midday yesterday. Let's see. Nowhere at noon. They just started selling the shit out of it. And they sold it off from 237 all the way to 229. That happened because the people who already knew that this was coming. They already knew it. They already sold it off $10. And then after hours, it gets announced, and everybody's screaming for this thing to gap down 30. They didn't issue anything. They're basically setting themselves up to acquire someone, most likely in the future when things really start blowing up around here. I think it was a savvy move, and basically anybody who sold it from the highs yesterday to the lows. This thing actually opened up green, which is actually the funniest part because everybody's saying gap down, gap down. Nope, you guys got hosed. End of the day down, 470? I mean, that's nothing. Netflix was down more, percentage-wise. So that's NVIDIA. So now they have this mixed shelf offering that's open, and they can kind of just go, hey, we're going to do, and they don't have to do all 10 bill at once. Hey, we need a quick 2 bill to acquire this startup. Done. Quick issue. You think that's going to dilute the shit out of this thing? No, it's not. But the Furus on Twitter thought so. But that's fine. That's fine. And actually, it was relatively flat. It was open green, kind of sold off a couple bucks, and then just sat there the rest of the day. Well, the rest of the market went through a little bit of a roller coaster. So when NVIDIA did that last night after hours, obviously I told you yesterday I got railroaded at the close there. But then futures just kept dripping and dripping. I think NASDAQ futures were down another 100 points. And they're down there, and things were looking rough. And basically, futures was implying that the S&P would be opening at its at or just below its 200-day moving average. And then around, I think it was 8 p.m. Let's see if I can pull it up quick. Seven p.m. China comes out with their ISM, their manufacturing, their PMI, I think, numbers, and they were hot. Massive acceleration. Obviously, not really a surprise considering they were in COVID lockdowns for so long, and they kind of just lifted all those restrictions a couple months ago. So now things are really ramping up. NASDAQ went from down 100 to like up 20 in an hour and a half. And then this morning, things were looking really good. Green bounced. Twitter was quiet because they all thought NVIDIA was going to get smoked. And then the German CPI came in real hot, and then stocks went right back down. Nice little roller coaster move. Then it opened lower, and then it was kind of an all-out assault on bulls. We had a little pop at the open, and then it was just game on. Just a big old spike down. Bulls tried to get it back, couldn't quite do it, and then they really just hammered them lower. But per usual, so far, bears fumbled at the 200 daily moving average. Went down there, and then you saw a big buy. There was a huge buyer at 39.50 in SPX futures. Massive buyer. That held it the first time. Then we rallied back up about 20 points, which put us about back at flat. And then they tried again. They broke through the 350. Looked like they were going to really hammer it. And then they fumbled again. Rallied all the way back up. So they got it down to 39.42. 39.42, which will put SPX under the 200 day for a bit. Oops, excuse me. So I had one big wick. 39.42 is basically the 200 day. It wicked to about 241 and then basically straight up to back up to 39.52. They tried it one more time, didn't quite get it. Made higher lows at 39.46 and then rallied up into the last hour of the day. And then sellers tried to make a last stand, but basically they just got gobbled up by buyers. roller coaster of a day, not what the bears expected. I will say, though, they finally tested the 200-day. The last time they did this, markets rallied big. But the 10-year was much lower than it was now. I think it was a 3.5. 10-year touch and actually clicked over 4%. It's usually a big psychological trigger to then start selling stocks again. And when it did the first time, that correlated with our first sell-off, and then it went back up, and then when it was back over 4, then that was kind of the second sell-off, and then things just kind of stabilized. The more times you test an area, the better chance it has of failing. So we'll call today test 1. I wouldn't be surprised if we test it again tomorrow. And if that breaks, then stocks are in trouble. If that holds, we'll probably get a bounce, a relatively big bounce. But if we test it a third time, that's most likely going to break. Third time is usually a charm. Obviously, that's not set in stone. There's no if this then that guarantee in this market, especially in this market. But just kind of things to look out for. Meta, nice head fake this morning. It's got a big number at 278. And it tried to get through twice, didn't, failed. And then they just slowly sold it off the rest of the day. Went from 177.5 all the way down to 173 at the end of the day. So I think we're at a big inflection point right now. Tesla might be the kick save or the dagger after hours and tomorrow here, depending on investor day. More whipsaw, but again, like we were talking about yesterday, this market is just moving up and down, left, just kind of stuck in a range. Until that range really breaks, you're just going to see this all the time. After hours right now, CRM, which is Salesforce, crushed earnings, absolutely dominated earnings. And they upped their buyback program to $20 billion. And they raised guidance. Wow. That stock's up 16% after hours, which is bringing up service now. Snow missed, shocker. But this one likes to reverse a little bit when they start their earnings call. If they don't, this one's in trouble. Now look, let's see what all the Furus say tonight. If they thought Nvidia was overpriced, they should love chirping about how overpriced snow is. You want to know how overpriced snow is? I don't even have it up here. Let's see. Scarpelli. So everybody's, bitching and moaning. Nvidia's PE is 96 or like 106, whatever it is. Essentially snows sorry, I just had it up here. Snow's PE is negative 64. That means they don't make $1 and they're hemorrhaging dollars nonstop. But they're not overpriced. They're fine. $46 billion, but they're fine. It's Nvidia that's overpriced. Anyways, I just don't get it. If you want to talk about things being overpriced, literally every single stock right now is overpriced. Every single one. So if you want to yell and chirp about something being overpriced, to fit your book or to talk your position up or down, yeah, go ahead. That's fine. But I see right through you. I see right through you. Looks like Investor Day is starting now. I'm not going to play it on here. But another thing to look at was just interesting today. There were rumors about Tesla coming out with cheaper cars, more affordable EV. And there's some more chirps about LiDAR. It's interesting. I've talked about Luminaire the past 3 or 4 days. This thing was down $1 early. They missed. Obviously, their earnings made them look pretty shitty. But remember, I was going through all that option chain yesterday and telling you it's 50,000. Astronomical open interest in most of these strikes. Just as I suspected, all those open interests dropped massively. So that was basically people exiting. That was buy the rumor, sell the news into earnings. But if there's a bunch of LiDAR all over these EVs that Tesla is about to show off, then I think this thing's got more room to run. I think 10's in the books pretty quick. This was down 8.11 at one point, and then it closed at its highs, and it's currently up a bit after hours at 9:10. I always say don't play stock or a particular stock into earnings. Usually IV, intrinsic value, is jacked in the options. The premium's really high, so you need much bigger moves to make any money going into it. But the day after is usually awesome, and this was a perfect example. Let's see the 9s. Let's just take a peek. Show you a perfect example. So yesterday, going into Luminaire's earnings, the $9 call was $1.15. It opened today at 15 cents. Closed the day at 38 cents. That's over a double if you waited. If you saw the turn, which happened, you saw a spike in volume as it turned back up, then you get an opportunity to get cheaper calls or puts if it's going down. But the other play I like is, and I didn't do it today because this market's a little bit too whippy, but a little more predictable market. So Snow is coming out with earnings after hours. What I would like to do is play a different name in the same industry. So like ServiceNow, CrowdStrike would have been a good one for CRM. So they call it a sympathy play. So CRM crushed, but Snow missed. It looks like, so you wouldn't cooked anyways, but the first move in Snow is up, and it took now up $7. Now it's back down a bit, but let's see, Snow closed around 155. Their 140 puts were $4. Nope. That's wrong. I was looking at the wrong month. 44. The 144s were closed at 290. This thing's down 7% after hours. And those are not in the money yet. So you need another $3 to make any money on that put. Let's say now opens down $5-6. Closed today at 429. Down $5. $2. So this thing's down 7%. Let's do it percentage wise. What's 7% of 290? $30. So if it does half that, it's down $15 from, call it 430, down $15. The 415s were $1. The 425s were 3. You would have been 3 to 10 on that. So sympathy plays. The ones in the same industry usually don't have premiums as jacked as that. Oh, looks like Tesla's tanking. What'd I say 2 days ago? This thing loves to run up into Investor Day, even though it's the first. Any Tesla event loves to run up into the event and then sell off during the event. But we'll see. It's I think it's a couple more hours. Just saw a note. Elon came out talking about 50,000 years from now. Yeah, we don't care. No one cares. No one's going to be here. Our bones probably won't even be here. Anywho's, all right, I'll leave you guys with that. I do have we have some more. Oh boy, I hear myself chirping. Here we go. Big data on Friday. Should be some nice moves. If the 200-day holds through, more data dumps here. What's going on here? I think we kind of get back up into that 4,000 level. What's the deal? I always have this pulled up, and then for some reason I click out of it. Let's see. Man, Meta, rude move today, Meta. Very rude. All right, tomorrow morning we have initial jobless claims. Those haven't been moving much, but that's all we have for tomorrow morning. Friday is the big one. Thursday. Should I get out? Nah, I'll hold on to it. RISM PMI numbers come out on Friday. Those should move the market pretty big. And then, of course, the narcissists need to speak. So we have Fed Speaker Waller out. No, not Waller. Sorry. Logan speaks at 10 a.m. Then Bostic speaks at 10:45. We should probably get another one in the afternoon. Yeah, 2:45. Nah, 3:45. That one doesn't matter. Barking. Barking. All right, that's it. I think that's it for today. I'm going to turn on the Tesla Investor Day, and I'll have an update for you tomorrow on that. Whipsaw Day. Watch the 200-day moving average on the S&P. That should give us insight on everything. And watch energy. We had a big day in energy after a shitty day yesterday. Rotation's real. All right, I'm starting to ramble because that's what I tend to do. All right, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. See you guys tomorrow at 3:15. All right.